One of the things that was trending yesterday throughout the day was SOTN 2016, and this is of course because of our members of parliament. And I don't know, I kept listening to the speaker and he said honorable members, and I was thinking honorable what is so honorable about them? So anyway, I don't know your take on this, Solo, on what happened yesterday. Was it something expected?
Well, definitely it's not the first time that we've had heckling in parliament, but what a shame, I guess, from our leaders, because when the president comes to address the nation about the state of the nation, he's not addressing it as a political thing. He's not giving, it's actually a constitutional mandate.
It's constitutional.
Yeah, so every time I see a member of parliament heckling or whistling or playing all those things, I'm like, I wish they made it in the headlines for proper reasons like development in their areas than doing this, because it's too politicized. And it's quite a shame, because I don't think it adds any value, first of all, because the president has to go on with his speech until he's done with it.
At the end of the day,
whether you heckle, whether you...
But the other side of it is they're trying to make a point. And maybe it is a valid point. We may question, like Zinzi had mentioned, it's not what you say, but how you say it. Maybe in this case, it's not what they're trying to do, but how they did it. Zinzi.
Oh my goodness, one word. That was just horrible. It's like, and then we call them our politicians. No, maybe politicians. Then we call them our leaders. And then you
but you know what? Newsbreak, they're actually our leaders, whether we like it or we don't.
That's the sad thing. And you see, the younger generation is looking at these guys and how they carry themselves. Oh, so that's how our leaders ought to carry themselves, So even my young person, and I want to go into politics, I already have this mindset. That's how I need to act, which is wrong. But at the end of the day, whistling, really, just next time just come in holding papers saying we are striking or something. It's freedom. It's you have your freedom.
Or just don't show up. Go to your constituency and
watch it from home.
They had actually said that they won't come. In fact, I think I watched earlier, Honorable Kaluma had said, I have something else that I'm going to do.
More important
business. And I was also shocked to now see him in Parliament later on being the mastermind of several things. But having said that, though, you have got to understand that especially those people in CORD right now, they have no stage to act. They're like these actors who at some point have been curtailed, and they have got to find that one outlet in order for them to do something. And this was a good opportunity for them.
But I beg to differ, because they have enough platforms to do that. Every Monday, Thursday, we have a platform right here. Immediately after the State of the Nation address, normally you have journalists out there to just find out what was your take on it. So that's another platform. So really, why use that particular avenue, whereas really you're not going to get, we cannot even get the information out there.
It becomes the news. Don't you see every headline today? They are the news. There weren't going to be any news if they just sat there and sat nicely and Million will say,
but what a shame, what a shame. Why make headlines because of some mediocre behavior? I mean, it doesn't add value, it doesn't make a difference. You just heckle, and then is it how you want to be portrayed even in your constituency?
And I feel like if they wanted to have a message passed as the opposition party, if they wanted to be heard and say, no, as the Jubilee government, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you need to do, I feel if they were responsible, mature enough, even maybe they would have been heard. Even President Uhuru Kenyatta would have taken time and said, okay, let me listen to you guys, instead of coming and blowing whistles.
Now, trust me, they wouldn't have been heard, by the way. They wouldn't have been
and also according to the law actually for the State of the Nation address, he is supposed to be listened to in silence and no questions after. So unless they created another.
But I don't think we have an excuse for those guys. I think that was a lot of theatrics. They acted, I would say, what that's like being a hooligan. That's like being in the streets and try to provoke something. For me, at the worst of things, I don't think anybody would have done that. They are leaders. They are people we respect. Then the people, like she says, everybody looks up to.
Yeah.
I don't think Kenya would be a sane nation if we all said we are against one or two ideologies or the president or the government, and we'll all take to the streets with whistles blowing and saying we're not listening to you. And I think he answered them, and I was so happy about that. I think the second part being of the speech, he said, you know what? Everybody has a right to speak. You have a right to criticize the government. But as you do that also, give me solutions.
Yeah, don't
I mean, that was
criticize.
really like,
Yeah, you actually say don't criticize as a sport. It's not a sport. But then again, there is a saying. There is a saying that we deserve the leaders that we have. Are we just sitting here and maybe, sort of saying that they shouldn't have done that? But really, at the end of the day, this is what we want as Kenyans. Because come 2017, I would not be surprised if these are the same leaders who go back.
well, Mike, one thing stands out. One, the government has performed and the government has not performed. And I think that is what is being raised by the opposition. We have many issues as a nation, and we talk about them here every Friday. And we raise some of them, and NYS and all those corrupt systems and all that. And the question is, the leaders we choose come next year, will they be able to make a change to this nation? Will they be able to say, no, we stand for things that are not that won't take Kenya backwards? Because everybody feels, and I think that's the mood of the nation, that we're not progressing, that we are having a lot of talk, a lot of policies that are not being implemented, and I think that's a problem. And as we look towards 2017, the problem again is that everybody who's not your age is thinking, okay, you guys said you want a young leadership kind of government, and we see more coming in. We just talked about some young people, even musicians and stuff coming in. Will the people of Kenya and everybody be able to trust again a very young nation kind of leadership, as opposed to the old one? And I think that's where the game is going to be played come next year.
Yeah, I think those ones will have vuvuzelas now instead of the
but it's a sad situation, because I mean, if you look at it generally, all our leaders, whether you're in opposition or whether in government, there has been something embarrassing about it. Been claims about corruption in those ones in government, and then there's this mediocrity from the ones in opposition. Remember one thing: it doesn't mean because I'm ugly that makes you pretty. You understand?
just a little uglier than you are. Uglier in a
I'm not two wrongs don't make a right.
They don't make a right.
Two wrongs
So
don't
I think
make a
what we need to do, as the president said, is bring the solutions to the table. Let us handle them, let us look at them, and then don't just come and complain, and then you have nothing on the table.
Okay, let's do this.
I agree with Stevens. One moment, he talked about, elections is coming around the corner. Everyone is keeping an eye on our politicians, from, the rich, the poor, those the educated, like everyone has the eyes, on politicians. So there's one tweet that I read during the course of, during the session, and they say that Jubilee does more of talking and less of action. I feel like that's not only Jubilee in that case, even us as citizens. We say, okay, these are the kind of leaders we want them to do this and that. But when it comes to taking actions as citizens, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're the ones with the power. When it comes to taking actions and voting for the right leaders, that doesn't apply. So at the end of the day, I feel like both sides, both the government and the people.
And it goes back to the same thing, that we deserve the leaders that we have, and that's exactly what we get. So come 2017, no surprises, I guess, if they go back.